Hello? Hello. It's me, sorry, doing the tech thing again, that I'm not very good at. But here I am. I'm coming in live again on Instagram, via phone, and all the rest, YouTube, etc. here with StreamYard. So if you're here, just give me a shout and say hi. It'd be lovely to know if you're watching and who's ready to hear me talk about not being broken. Um, I it is one of the biggest feelings and things that women who come into therapy with me, or even before they even decide to come into therapy with me, say that they feel. I'll take them off for a sec. It is the 99.9% of the time the main question that I'm asked, other than, kind of, can you make me feel any different? Is, Helen, I feel like I'm broken. Am I broken? Do I need fixing? And like I said, 99.9% of the time, that is the main question. Because of the experiences that women have had, whether they be from childhood, whether they be from from adolescence, from young adulthood. It is the biggest question. Am I broken because I feel it? What trauma does, what any kind of challenging life experience does, is it makes you feel as though you're alone. And the responses to those experiences they make you feel disconnected, not just disconnected from other people, but and your experiences and your friendships and your relationships. But actually, the biggest one is the disconnect in the relationship and the understanding that you have of yourself. It's the belief that you have in yourself, and the belief that you have in your self-esteem, the belief that you have in your self-worth, and the belief that you have in who you are as a human being. And it can really erode trauma and the traumatic experiences can really erode that connection that you have with yourself, and the connection that you feel that you have with yourself, and the connection and the belief that you have in yourself and who you are, and the value that you bring to the world, and the value that you bring to the relationships that you have. So all of that is what makes you feel like you're broken. But I want to say very clearly that you're not broken. If you're feeling that, I understand it, and you're not going to believe me when I say that you're not broken. So I want you to reframe it slightly, and I want you to think about it as a fracture, okay? And it's a fracture that you've been perhaps walking around with for a very long time, or even for a short space of time. And it's been painful, and you might not have noticed the fracture so much because you've been trying to get on with life and get on with things, that you've become kind of used to walking around with this fracture and walking around with the pain, and thinking that nothing can actually be done because it could be done about it now, because it feels like you've had this fracture for life, or you feel like it's that you've just got used to it. And there was a lady that came in to start working with me, and she had a free compass call with me. And she said very clearly that she's been choosing pain over peace because she didn't know how to reach peace. So think about, instead of broken, think about fracture. That it's a fracture that you've been walking around with. It's a fracture that you've got used to in some respects. that it's a fracture that feels like, you can just about tolerate it to get on with what you need to be getting on with. But the thing is, with any fracture, you're going to feel more pain. You're going to find it affecting different parts of you. You're going to find that it's sometimes painful, sometimes you can tolerate it, sometimes if you avoid it, sometimes if you do something differently, if you overcompensate, then you can kind of, it's there, but I'm just going to ignore it because it's painful. And I don't want to look at it. There's a process in attachment therapy, and as an attachment therapist, I assess children and young people and women and men, but I assess the relationship that people have with each other. And there's a process in attachment therapy that is very simply called interactive repair. And we also use it in connection with the shame that you feel as a human being that comes from the belief that something is your fault, that you intrinsically, you are responsible by your very existence for whatever happened to you. So it's called interactive repair, and that's what I want you to think about alongside the fracture. You're not broken, it's a fracture. A fracture where all sorts of belief systems have come in, all sorts of different core, what end up feeling like core beliefs in yourself, and the values then that you hold about yourself come in. They come in and they seep in and they make that fracture, slightly more distorted, makes it feel more impossible in lots of ways. So with women I'm influencing in therapy and guiding and providing support for, there's an interactive repair. And it's the interactive repair that you have with yourself, not the interactive repair of your experience in some respects, because you can't change history. You can't change the past. You can't change what happened to you. Wish we could. I wish there was a magic wand that we could change all of that. But actually, the interactive repair is in how you have responded and reacted. Reacted rather than respond. Reaction is an impulse. Response becomes a choice. The interactive repair that you have then with yourself, who you are now and who you want to become. And there's an interactive repair, obviously, with the inner wounded child, which I only ever do one session on. I do one session in 3 months on inner child, and it's a beautiful session. That we don't go back and try and change history, but we go in and we bring safety to that wounded child. And that's the interactive repair with who you are now, the belief that you have in yourself, the belief, the values that you hold about yourself and your world, and the impact, the reactions, the physical and psychological and emotional reactions that you have had to that traumatic experience. So the repair is in connecting you to your true core self, not what's happened for you, not the narrative of what's happened for you. The connecting with your true core self that hasn't been allowed to be free because of that fracture. So what's the core self? When I ask women who they are, they go, "Oh, I don't know." I don't know who I am. I ask children, they're very clear. Children are really, really open about who they are. Women and some men that I work with, I occasionally work with men, they don't know who they are. So the core self is the calm, confident, curious, playful, compassionate, vibrant, empowered, accepting part of you that is living underneath that fracture, that wants to come through, that with the interactive repair of that fracture, when it comes back together, that fracture, and merges and blends to create a much more solid, solid foundation, blueprint, then the true core self can come through. Then the defining of that person that you are, that confident, vibrant, empowered, self-worth, person, that all of that comes through. Didn't get my words right then, but anyway, doesn't matter. All of that comes through for you. So you're not broken. There's a fracture that needs an interactive repair, and the fracture is the connection that you have with yourself. The fracture has been the disconnect in that has been created by your traumatic experience, whatever that experience is. So the therapeutic process is a personal growth process of bringing interactive repair to that fracture that you have with yourself, the disconnect that you have with yourself, so that you feel able to be the person that you want to become and feel what you want to feel, which is at the very simplest level what every single woman and every single child has ever said to me that they want to feel is happy. That's the simple answer to when I say, what is it that you hope for? What is it that you want? They want to feel happy. And that's what the interactive repair does, so that you feel happy in yourself as who you are and who you want to become, who you are in your personal growth journey, whatever that is, your professional growth journey as well. So it's an interactive repair. It's a repair of a fracture, an interactive repair, a blending of in that fracture that allows an awakening. And it's a beautiful thing to see. It's one of the, I'm just humbled and honored every time, and with every single woman that I work with. So where do you start? Where do you start in that? It's like, I can hear you. That's all very well, Helen, saying that there's an interactive repair and that's all we have to do. I wish it was simple, in the sense of, oh, I want to feel this now, so let's do it differently. But there are ways to respond. There are ways to start shifting and creating that interactive repair. The first way is understanding your body's response to trauma. The more you are aware of why your body and brain are responding in the way that they do, the better your ability is to begin changing that and navigating the impact of those traumatic experiences. When you act with fear, remember, you're just constantly in threat. There's no conscious choice about how to respond, so you jump into this threat response. So with becoming aware of the body and your body's response to trauma, you start to bring an awareness and you start to bring a more conscious response to those experiences in your body. There's so much in terms of that body awareness, that because your body has an inherent self-capacity for healing. And then it's an extraordinary, I do a lot of soma work, body work with women, where we really listen to where trauma has been sitting in the body, the reaction, the reaction that the body has had, connecting it with obviously the brain and the autonomic, the nervous system, and the bringing regulation to that. Grounding is also a hugely important thing. So bringing body awareness, grounding is the next. Body's response. So you're bringing body awareness, then you're also grounding. So when you ground, there are so many different ways in which you can ground yourself. It's extraordinary. But this very simple is about bringing that awareness of where you are in your space right now. so that there's an awareness of the very physical aspect of grounding yourself in your whole sensory experience. I'm all about sensory experiences. So there's a real sense of grounding yourself. So you're having you bring an awareness to your body's response to the trauma that you've experienced, the way that your body has developed patterns and behaviors to your trauma. You bring a grounding when you experience those so that you are able to respond. You're bringing a conscious choice to respond to those. And you're creating body awareness. So getting in touch with your body's sensations help you gain a better understanding of your triggers, the things that activate fear, and catch your response sooner so you can use the soothing techniques, what everybody call, I call them this part of the soothe system, which is your parasympathetic nervous system. So just take a minute, even now, to take a scan of your body. I can't see anybody commenting. I don't know whether people are, but take a minute now to just scan your body. Take an inventory of any particular sensations that you're feeling. Are you holding any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach? Does this tension grow when you're in a stressful situation? Do you experience frequent stomach problems or migraines? They're all important messages. Your body is one of the biggest messengers that you have, coupled with your emotions. They're all important messages that your body is communicating about how you're responding to your environment. So when you learn to listen rather than judge those responses, you'll be in a much better position to activate your soothe system, your parasympathetic nervous system, and soothe your body and your mind. When you begin to listen and respond differently, your body is your mind and body, certainly when you respond differently to your mind and your body, you begin to repair those fractures, because you might actually be living with more than one fracture. Okay. You begin to repair those fractures that have developed as a result of traumatic experiences that have been outside of your control. So you're not broken. There's a fracture. And fractures with an interactive repair of understanding your body's response, being able to connect with your body awareness, grounding yourself and then being able to connect with your body awareness. It's an empowered evolution of shifting away from trauma being in charge of you to you having a conscious choice and awareness about how you want to respond to those and how you rewire your responses, your reactions, because they can be rewired. Couple that with your emotional awareness, and you move from emotional fragility to emotional agility. Every single emotion that you have is a message. Every single emotion that you have is valid. Not one of them is invalid. When you listen to what that need is that the emotion is signposting you to, you make a conscious choice about how you respond to it. So that's, in a nutshell, in a short space of time, 20 minutes, what my answer usually is to women when they say, am I broken? Am I always going to feel like this? The answer is no. You're not broken. There's a fracture. And the fracture that you've been walking around with that is painful, and sometimes you avoid it, and sometimes you say, oh, I can live with it, it's fine. But then it gets worse, and it's in that fracture that those shame beliefs come in, those beliefs about that yourself, that you are damaged, that you are broken, that you are responsible for what you experienced. And I'm going to leave this session today, and I've just had somebody on Instagram. So hang on, I know this happens for me on a number of levels. That physically my digestion becomes very overactive. Yeah, that's right. That's your vagus nerve connection and your autonomic nervous system. Emotionally, I become very short-tempered, but right now it's my physical health that needs work. The physical and the emotional are intrinsically linked. I know who's speaking to me here, but I know also that there's something else, and you're absolutely right, lovely. It's more important to respond to physically what's happening for you right now. But when we're talking about kind of the digestive systems and the the body and brain connection in that way, and the emotion, then they are all linked together. If you've heard things like, I feel sick to my stomach, that's your body telling you what you're feeling before you're able to verbalize, this is the emotion that I have. So your body gives you the messages first. When you connect it all together, you bring an interactive repair to that fracture that you've been living with, which allows you to have an awakening about the person that you actually want to be and can be and are, and the woman that you want to become as you continue into your future. You are not what happened to you, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I just want to leave you with a message from a lovely little girl, and I shared this on my in my Women Thrive Summit talk. The lovely Amy, who is a little girl, had experienced sexual abuse for a number of years, and I've just finished working with her now. And she said to me in one of her last sessions with me, we did a lovely work around how she listens to herself, how she understands herself, how she isn't responsible for what happened to her, and the way that she can think about herself now, and how she brings soothing to herself. And she just said to me towards the end of the session, she said, Helen, I may have had something bad happen to me, but it doesn't mean I have to hate myself for the rest of my life. And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I welled up because I do. I'm a very emotional person. I love all of my emotions, so I let them out and free. They're allowed to be free. And I just, what a beautiful, beautiful message from her, because we've done that interactive repair together, and she now has this lovely understanding of who she is and how she can now move forward from her experiences. And that's what every single woman gets to do with me. And it's a lovely, lovely experience. I'm just going to quickly check Instagram. Yeah, Amy made me cry too. She's a beautiful, beautiful little girl, and she like anybody that works with me, and any child that I work with, and any woman that I work with, she deserves to feel what she's feeling now, which is that sense of she is not what happened to her. She is so much more than that. Much more than that. So you're not broken. Bit of a fracture. There's an interactive repair that can be done, and it's a beautiful journey of awareness and personal growth, and an awakening of who you are and who you want to become. So there you go. I will love you and leave you. I can't see any comments. I did think, I'm pretty sure I did open up comments, but I haven't seen any comments. So if you're watching this on a replay, give me a hashtag replay and just let me know in the comments what you think, and let's have a chat. All right, I will see you next Thursday at the same time. And I will be more mindful of letting people know that I'm coming live. So I will see you soon. Take care. Lots of love from me.